First, we begin with Joe Biden. Last night, yes, your fearless leader came out of hiding for a very special town hall. Very few people watched on fake news CNN. And despite a never-ending stream of softball questions and plenty of coddling from Don Lemon, well, the town hall was charitably, I'll say, an unmitigated disaster. Now, many of Joe's answers were completely incomprehensible. At times, no one seemed to know what the hell Joe was even talking about. Not even Don Lemon, not the audience, not even Joe himself. But as usual, we let you decide.
I've heard you speak about it because you always, I'm not being solicitous, but you're always straight up about what you're doing. Yeah. And the question is whether or not we should be in a position where you are, why can't the experts say, we know that this virus is in fact, it's going to be, or excuse me, we know why all the drugs approved are not temporarily approved, but permanently approved. Yeah. That's underway too. I expect that to occur quickly.
Well, that means, you mean for the FDA?
For the FDA. There are trusted interlocutors. Think of the people. If your kid wanted to find out whether or not there's a man on the moon or whatever, something, or, whether those aliens are here or not, who are the people they talk to beyond the kids who love talking about it? They go to people they respect.
Okay, we have a president who, to be charitable again at times, is completely unable to communicate, a total cognitive mess. And I know I've joked about it in the past, but it's really not funny anymore. This is a real national security crisis that has emerged not only for the U.S., but the world. And it's completely being ignored by the media mob, the big tech mob, the Twitter blue check mob and big tech cult that exists. They only seem to talk to each other. But when Joe was able to form a semi-coherent sentence, well, he was almost always lying. Now, the first example involves crime in America. According to your president, Joe Biden, crime is actually down, he says. Watch for yourself.
Now, I'm not being a wise guy. There's no reason you should. Have you seen my gun violence legislation I've introduced? As you know, because you're so involved, actually crime is down. Gun violence and murder rates are up. Guns.
Okay, Joe, you're the president, but I'll help you out. Murder is way up in every major city in the country. Assaults are up. Carjackings, they've spiked also. Oh, out there in California, the socialist paradise that it is, shoplifting now is so bad because they're not going to arrest you or charge you unless you steal over $1,000. Retailers now have to close early, and some retailers have closed locations permanently because of the never-ending theft. Just look at your screen right now. Look at what's happening here. It's happening all over California. Crooks, what they do is they come in with like garbage bags, they fill them up with merchandise, keep it under $1,000 so they don't get in trouble, and they just walk right out of the store, and in Joe's reality, everything's free. Wow. What about, how does a business ever get to stay in business that way? They rarely get arrested and almost never get prosecuted. But according to Joe Biden, the real problem in this country, that's Americans who lawfully exercise your Second Amendment rights, your constitutional rights. Watch this.
The idea you need a weapon that can have the ability to fire 20, 30, 40, 50, 120 shots from that weapon, whether it's a 9mm pistol or whether it's a rifle, is ridiculous. I'm continuing to push to eliminate the sale of those things.
Okay, Joe, I own 9mm weapons. I even have a license to carry a 9mm weapon. It's a handgun. It's one of the most basic self-defense weapons. And there is no 120 clip magazine for a 9mm pistol that I've ever heard of, but I'm open to seeing it if you could show it to me. But I wouldn't expect Joe Biden to know that because he barely seems to know what day of the week it is and doesn't really seem to have a firm grasp on any issues of any substance. And sometimes, well, it seems like he's living in this, alternate reality of his. In fact, get this, according to Joe, there's no longer a crisis at our southern border. This is what they call Well, at Burger King, a Whopper with cheese and double bread and double, meat. Take a look.
We have been able to move significantly to change the number. There were thousands of people in custody with the Border Patrol. It's now cut by 90%. It's considerably down.
Let's stay on script. All right, Joe, there are fewer migrants in DHS custody because your administration, I'll tell you why, you are releasing them all over the country. And, of course, migrants continue to pour across the southern border in droves. Here we got the numbers for June. Yep, another record, 188,000 migrants entering our country illegally, and that's only the numbers that we know about. Now, this is in the New York Times, Joe, and I assume you're still able to read, but I digress. The next lie from Joe Biden, that would involve inflation, which every American is feeling, and it's really bad. Watch.
Guess what? Instead of paying 10 cents, you're paying 20. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It relates to what, in fact, is now needed because we're growing. I don't know anybody, including Larry Summers, who's a friend of mine, who's worried about inflation, is suggesting that there's any long-term march here if we do the things we're going to do.
So the economist that Joe is referring to has a name. His name is Lawrence Summers, and he literally wrote an op-ed entitled, "The Inflation Risk is Real." Articles in the Wall Street Journal, articles in Forbes and Bloomberg also discuss the long-term inflation risk. It's getting bad. We even now are calculating the misery index that we really haven't measured since Jimmy Carter. And even Biden's own Treasury Secretary, Janet Yellen, warned of months of rapid inflation. Maybe Joe missed that meeting, or maybe he just forgot, or maybe he just sent Kamala Harris to do more of the jobs that he's supposed to do. Now, inflation is not only, a glaring concern in the Biden economy. Another serious problem surrounds the massive labor shortage. That's real, too. In many cases, businesses now are completely unable to fill job openings because of Biden's generous COVID-19 handouts that continue to go on. But don't worry, according to Joe, if you're a business owner, you can just magically print money and pay everyone more, and you're probably going to have to suffer more. Kind of sounded like Jimmy Carter saying, lower your heat and put a sweater on. Take a look.
My guess is that people being $7, $8 an hour plus tips, that's, I think, John, you're going to be finding $15 an hour or more now.
You said we're going to end the things that may be keeping people back. Do you think that's the unemployment benefits?
Well, that was
expanded?
argued it was. I don't think it did much, but the point is it's argued that because the extended unemployment benefits kept people, they'd rather stay home and not work than go to work.
You don't think it did that?
I see no evidence it had any serious impact on it.
And yes, there you have yet another lie from Joe Biden. According to multiple reports, the Biden unemployment benefits are keeping workers home. And get this, the jobless rate, sadly, it just went up again. But according to Biden, well, who has, by the way, never actually worked in a business. He's been in the swamp, the sewer, for, 50-plus years, maybe 500, depending how you do math, outside of Hunter's pay-for-play schemes. He did make money there. To be fair, we got to report all his income. We now know that he directly benefited from zero experience Hunter. Now, these greedy business owners just have to pay people more money. Okay, how much are other people willing to pay for a hamburger, cheeseburger, French fries? Between the lying, the insults, the stammering, the, confusion of Joe Biden, well, that town hall was, to say the least, tough to watch for the few people that actually watched it. One Washington Post reporter noted, quote, President Biden has said not a joke at least 7 times the past 30 minutes. In other words, it's not a joke, literally. It's sad, but it's true. And this is your president. You decide again.
It really has. Not a joke. No, I'm not joking. Not a joke. Not a joke. Not a joke. Not a joke. I'm not joking.
Not a joke. Come on, man. Did you use cocaine? Are you a junkie? Well, that was a moment during the campaign, one of the rare moments he left his basement bunker. I guess the only saving grace for the Biden administration is that very few people saw it. More people watched our town hall from Miami. And look at this. The auditorium for Joe was half empty. Wow. Doesn't look like a Trump rally in any way, does it? And while many on the left would like to ignore Joe Biden altogether, well, it's way past time that the administration answers serious questions about the president's clear cognitive decline. It is no longer in dispute. But don't expect tough questions from the media mob. They will keep him in the media mob big tech protection program at all costs. And needless to say, this probably, will be the last town hall we'll see in a very long time. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.